Hi, my name is Rose Fanaki, and I'm explaining my genogram. I didn't include my grandparents, however, by way of explanation, my grandparents on my mother's side both came from Sicily, uh, the boot of Italy, and they came from a town called Corleone. And the grandparents on my father's side also came from Sicily, the same town, Corleone. They came through Ellis Island, better known as the Statue of Liberty, in New York, New York, on a boat. This would be back probably around the 1940s. Both of my parents were born in America, both my mother and father. My mother's name is Marge, my father's name is George. Both my parents told me of going to school and learning English at school and coming home and needing to teach their parents um, English at home. And they were forbidden to speak English at home because my grandparents used to say, "You're in America now, you are an American now, and you are to speak English." And so my parents only spoke to each other in Italian when they didn't want us children to understand what they were talking about, which was frequently at dinner, usually accompanying a conversation about other relatives. Um, it was interesting to me to look at some of the patterns that emerged. My father died of a heart attack at 47. His first heart attack was when he was in his early 40s, might have been only 40 years old. My brothers are all, my oldest half brother is in his 70s. Nobody has had any heart problems. They may have some heart disease, but there has not been any heart attacks. My mother died of breast cancer at 43, and again, there has not been any cancer at all in the family. An older brother had a throat cancer, but that was attributable to smoking and not so much to genetics. My sister and I are just fine. What I did notice, though, was the drug and the alcohol addictions. One of my brothers struggles terribly with drugs. He's quite hyper. He's been diagnosed as ADHD. It can be said he self medicates, but nonetheless, he struggles tremendously with the drugs. Another of my younger brothers also struggles with drugs. Um, my sister, the phobias tend to run through the family. We see that with my father, with my brothers, with some of the siblings also. I do find it extraordinarily fortunate that I have stabilized our family. We've lived in Southern California. My siblings met their mates here. There's a lot of nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews. I even have a couple of great nieces and a nephew, and we are all very, very close. I'm the family historian, so I am the person who gives them the information. I get the phone calls, I get the emails, I get the messages on Facebook that says somebody named Fanaki or Palmieri wants to friend me. Is this one of our relatives? So I'm a bit of the family historian with the pictures and the movies and things like that. I have reconnected with relatives on the East Coast that I hadn't seen for about 36 years. Went back for the first time in 36 years to Buffalo, New York, and we had a wonderful time. Some of them live in Atlanta, so I recently went to Atlanta. But the genogram showed me how important family is and how important restoration. And I did notice that a family member who was cut off from somebody or estranged from somebody seemed to be estranged from many people, which showed me that that's usually their rigid personality. That is usually their need to be right and to set up walls and boundaries that keep people out if they don't feel that they're being treated the way they think they should be treated. On the other hand, the people that were more easygoing, I noticed They didn't seem to have problems with anybody. Um, Several members of my family are all very close to their kids. The kids are all close to each other. In some cases, even when the parent, for whatever reason, is not close to the niece or nephew, the nieces and nephews are close to each other, which again I think sets things up for a loving and caring, nurturing family. Um, there's quite an array of culture and races represented throughout my family. Whereas when in my parents' generation, being Italian, you only married another Italian. You didn't marry somebody who was even a mixed Italian. You married somebody who was a complete, on both sides, Italian. Fortunately, those restrictions are much, much less now. The other thing that was interesting was that my grandfather is a pastor. He was mentioned in my cast of characters. My grandfather helped to found a church in Buffalo, New York, and my uncle went to seminary. That uncle's son is now a pastor in Florida. He works with youth. I am in seminary, obviously. I'm also a chaplain, but everybody in the family, my cousin of the daughter of the uncle who went to seminary, she's married to a pastor. There's a lot of pastors in the family, so I'm able to see that that legacy carries on. I was able to see that there's drug and alcohol involvement. There's also some depression. There seems to be some maybe arthritic conditions. I don't have it, but some of the members of the family might have some arthritis going on, things like that. But overall, the genogram was really helpful to see how much God restored what could have been such a disastrous life in being orphaned so young, and the people that make a lot of effort to stay in touch with one another and celebrate family. So I thank you for watching this, and I appreciate the opportunity to do it.